Welcome to the Money Collective podcast. We're here to uplift your financial well-being. Your hosts are me, Mel Pierce, and Darlene New. We are the co-founders of the Money Collective, and together we have over 50 years of finance and banking experience. We provide the tools, information, and guidance to better understand your money and feel confident making money decisions. Hi, welcome back to another podcast recording. As per usual, we love to open and just get straight stuck into it
today. Yep.
And talk a bit of a truth.
Okay, truth. My truth today. I am going to talk about Tats Lotto tickets. It comes up from time to time in our household. I'm not really into Tats Lotto.
Okay.
It's not my deal. I mean, I'm a maths girl, right? So odds and Tats Lotto.
Very low.
Ridiculously low. I don't even know them off the top of my head. All I know is, it's very low to win anything in Tats Lotto. But my husband has played Tats Lotto, Dennis is his name, since probably we were married, and we've been married 32 years. So, and I reckon it would be very minimal weeks that he would have missed, right? So he buys a ticket, he has specific numbers. There are, birth dates and things and special numbers to him. He's played those same numbers for that period of time. We've never won any money. We get so the reason this has come up, so he went down to cash in his, get his new ticket for Saturday, just gone, and the little thing, you've got some winnings, and he didn't have his card on him, and he had to come home and, I don't know, get his card, although they paid into an account. I don't even understand.
Have a racing heart rate?
He did, because he didn't know how much it was, right? So he came home. He must have been able to check it online.
Okay.
Actually, because he's registered, maybe they paid the money into your account or something. I don't even know the details. So, and he came straight inside, logged on, looked, and it was like $12.
Yeah.
It's like the ticket, I don't even know what the ticket costs. It would be more than $12 a week. I'm sure.
Could cause health concerns driving home in such a frenzy. Surely the person at the shop can just say you won $12, mate.
Well, I said to him, if it was any big amount, bells and whistles would have gone off and you would have known. Or somebody from Tats Lotto would have already rang you.
I think so.
Right? Because it's a week gone by. Saturday to Saturday.
Clarity right there.
Yeah, no. But then if you're, doing what we do, right? So he buys Tats Lotto out of his fund money. So we have an account where we get, so much per
do what you
fortnight.
Will with it.
Do what you will with it. It is a different amount. So mine's got to cover clothes.
You've got a larger amount, have you?
I have got a little larger amount, but it's, and he doesn't spend a lot. He has Tats Lotto and buys his lunch and coffees and stuff sometimes. So anyway, he buys his Tats Lotto out of that. So I don't even know the exact amount he pays. Anyway, but
$12.
say it's 12. Yeah, well, $15. I don't know. Anyway, so I don't know. But if you think over 32 years, and I know it would have gone up, but it's all relative.
Where's the calculator?
Yeah, you need a calculator. Say $10. Let's do a round number. Yeah. $10 per week for a year. That's $520 times 30 years. Let's keep it simple. 30 times 5.
3 5 $15,000.
It would be at least, wouldn't it?
That's the cost of entertainment.
Well, it's
the rush of driving home. Look, one day you might win big, and then you won't be having this conversation, will you?
Well, that's what he says. I won't hold my breath.
But
imagine
it's interesting.
It would have been a great overseas holiday.
My dad always has done it. He's got his Tats card, and Percy does it as well, my partner.
So how common is it? I'd love to hear it in the show notes.
Yeah.
And what are people's thoughts and views on it? It's the whole luck. I don't want to live my life on luck. It comes back to that, I think.
Every week when there's a big winner, he'll know who the big winner is, where they're from. How do you even get that information?
It must be Must be
Is
somewhere.
there a section in the newspaper? I don't know.
I don't know. If you get the really big wins, sometimes
But
it's on
because
the
when you
news.
follow it, then you get more excited and you think it's a real person. It could be me. The other thing that Percy started to do is, I'm going to name names, but LMCT, like they do giveaways, like where you can win a house or a car or a caravan or something massive. Have you seen those?
No.
And they're really popular. So I don't know if your chances are better in there, but that's another thing he's added to his repertoire.
Yes, I think this is really interesting. So for me, the feeling, I want to manage my destiny. I mean, great if you won.
It's like it's like your personality, whether you think that you're in control of your destiny or whether
it's all luck. And I just want to be in it.
It's got to be both, doesn't it?
Oh, there's definitely luck in life, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it's a lot of money, and I think, oh, that would have been a nice holiday or something, but no. Anyway, he does it, and I think it's fear. It's now fear if you didn't have a ticket and your numbers came up, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem when you play the same numbers.
That's so interesting.
I think it's more fear.
Yeah.
What if?
Well, it's a little bit like, my previous truth of like cancelling health insurance. And then being stuck out. So you have it for all those years and then when you need it, it's gone. So it's like hedging your bets. Like at one point in time, you're going to need these things.
Yes. So the point I'd like to leave everyone with is, is it serving you or not? You know, if you are a Tats Lotto player, why do you do it? But yeah, just be mindful about that. You know, because everything's a trade-off. So if you're spending that money somewhere, it can't go somewhere else.
Yep, that's it.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a point of view on it.
Yeah.
Each their own.
True.
I know the answers to not much in this life.
No.
But my truth is that I know that I didn't order Uber Eats on Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m. and I don't have an Uber Eats account.
Okay.
And I was sitting, I score the kids cricket on the Sunday morning. I'm sitting there with my little scorecard and it pops up on my phone because I get notifications when money's spent on my account. And an Uber Eats transaction went through my account for $36. And I'm like, I just didn't do that. I don't have an Uber Eats account.
And all the family's right here.
All the family's right here. My 17-year-old son was at home. I did call him. And, like, we can't get Uber Eats where we live. Like, we live out of town. It's not possible. And he's like, no. That's just it was a bit frustrating. So, and I just put a lock on my card. So when I'm buying things, I just unlock it at the point of sale and then lock it again. And I haven't called the bank yet.
Oh, well, you should
so
call
I
the
need
bank.
to call the bank. That's on my to-do list. Call the bank and I'll need to order a new card. Yeah.
I think that the reason why we don't is because we feel that inconvenience, right?
Yes.
And it's effort. You've got to ring the bank, you know, you've got to go through the process.
Yeah.
They're going to send you a new card. But what I can say is, in my experience, the banks process that pretty quick.
Do process it quick.
I'm sure that's
sure I'll get my money
across
back
the board, but
as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Got to do the administration.
Yeah. Well, the risk is there's more to come, isn't there?
That's right.
And now
well, it's funny because I've got the lock on the account. Then there were more like anything like so. If I've got a direct debit on that account, it's now declining, which is causing me problems. So I've got to sort this out quickly. But yeah, so there were some other transactions coming through, but they've all been declined, so they're not hitting on my. I can see the notification, but it's not hitting my account.
You've got the lock.
So I haven't. Yes, I'm not sure how much. Like it, so I really feel like somebody is using this card. And
really
I did some Cyber Monday shopping, so I think it stemmed from that, from me
online. So you did some
shopping,
online shopping.
Online shopping from that account.
Yeah. It really is. I mean, again, this could be a topic for another day. Cyber risk and cyber security is so high. I think everybody. I don't know if you're one of the few that's never been hacked. You know, that's great luck. You know, I think
your time is coming near, just like Tats Lotto. You're about to win.
Yeah, it's just look, and if you're not checking your accounts regularly, you absolutely need to. It's just everywhere all of the time. I think it's
keep an eye on it.
It's the biggest risks, and in this space also the laws and the regulations are being looked at and reviewed, and of recent times, banks are starting to push back on whether they'll refund or not, and then that's what some of the review and the regulation is about, because it's just there's so many ways that people are being scammed. So yeah, please keep an eye on your accounts.
And who orders Uber Eats for breakfast? Come on, people.
I reckon a lot.
Do they? Didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah. Yep.
So today we've got a very special guest.
We have.
Yes, Kelly Bracegirdle is going to be joining us today.
Yep, Kelly and I have been friends. We actually go to the gym together, but Kelly has ADHD, and she is super passionate about raising awareness of how ADHD, makes you feel. The more awareness that we have out there, we can be less ignorant and see it from somebody else's point of view. Yeah. So we are very fortunate to have Kelly as a guest, and we're going to obviously talk about her journey with money and how that's been for her. So, yeah.
It was a really fascinating conversation, and we learnt a lot from her, so we hope you do as well.
Yeah. Today we've got a special guest with us, Kelly Bracegirdle, and I know Kelly from the gym, and I've been really fortunate to have some awesome conversations with Kelly whilst we're lifting weights.
Love that.
And Kelly has a real passion about ADHD actually, and getting her voice out there and actually being an advocate and to help people understand ADHD. We had a good conversation actually once, and this is really why I thought Kelly for the podcast, is that I was talking about ADHD, and I don't like labels on people very much. I believe we're all equal and we all bring something, and labels can tend to put you in a box. That's my view. But Kelly, and maybe step in here, challenged me on that.
That I did. Labels, especially since I've been diagnosed, I find that labels on people help you advocate for yourself. Also, I find that labels also open up more opportunities for you as well. And what's wrong with a label? I'm Kelly who lives with ADHD, and I'm neurodiverse, and I've got to just kind of adjust my world, I suppose.
Right. Yeah, and learn about it and find out about it, find your people and get the supports that you need, and adjust your life.
Of course.
Yeah,
and that can be like on an hour-to-hour basis. It can be on a week-to-week basis. But yes, it's an interesting road that I travel on.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about the analogy of that because, being women and the gender gap, and particularly when we talk about money, the pay gap, I could definitely relate to that. And I'm definitely an advocate of enhancing policies for women to bring that equity, fix the gap, basically. So, and we've got to talk about it, get it out there, do it for something to change.
Yeah, that's right.
Until that isn't a thing
we
anymore.
can't just pretend that everything's okay and everyone's doing, there's an equal playing field or whatever.
Because there's not.
That's right, I get that.
Yeah, I get that too.
I mean, don't get me wrong, if I was going for a job interview today, I don't even know whether I would tell them to
You wouldn't be game.
I don't think so, not to start off with.
Yeah, because of the judgment that might bring.
Of course. Not necessarily just judgment, but just misunderstanding. And a lot of people still have that idea of ADHD being the hyperactive little boy that jumps all over the furniture and won't sit still. Whereas, it's completely different.
Yes. I know some really successful business people who have got ADHD, and like they're the focus and then the drive and the do.
It's actually really interesting because my mind belief, and I don't know anything about it, like I haven't studied it or know anything, but my mind belief is ADHD people are very, very smart. Isn't it funny?
And good looking.
Definitely.
Of course.
But that's my mind belief, you know.
Isn't it interesting? Yeah, so it's like the subconscious bias that we come in with
Yeah.
anyway that we can't. It's hard to moderate too, and that's like going in for a job, you know, interview. Like people are going to have biases, and
Of course.
you can't.
Of course.
From their own
regulate
experiences or whatever.
Yeah,
Of course.
and you just want to be taken at face value. We all want to be taken at face value,
Yes.
of course, and that's exactly how it should be. And there shouldn't be discrimination, so there's no need to disclose things like that anyway, is there?
Of course.
Yeah.
But
Well,
there is.
that's my
There
mind belief.
absolutely
There is, of course.
Yeah.
I even discriminate against myself sometimes.
Yeah. What does that mean?
I think there's been a lifetime of, oh, surely I can't do that.
Ah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This is Apollo.
See,
Apollo,
also a
See?
barking dog.
even Apollo has an opinion as well.
That's right.
So a lifetime of trying to mask what's really going on inside and observing what other people are doing and saying around me and trying to be that. And when I can't be that, then, self-doubt, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you've always had that, but you've only been diagnosed recently, is that right?
Yes.
But you
It's
feel
been
like...
about 2 years.
Yeah, but you feel like it's been something that you've had throughout your whole life?
Of course.
Yes.
Of course. Yeah.
And then did it get worse at a particular time or more? I should say worse because that's a bad word. You know what I mean? Like a negative word. See, isn't it hard to even not bring this language into it?
We could say
Right or wrong.
heightened.
Became more heightened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. During COVID,
Yeah.
when I looked around me and other people seemed to be quite content with being at home and, homeschooling and,
And
they
your
were
body was
saying,
saying-
this is great, we could do this forever. And all of my support networks, which I had relied upon so heavily, weren't there anymore because my husband was stuck overseas for work. And everyone else around me, we were all in the same boat because everyone was locked down. And everyone else was going through their own stuff in their own way. And I was just kind of questioning, why aren't I coping as well as everybody else seems to?
Yeah, interesting.
And there were a few people around me who were also either newly diagnosed or in the process of being diagnosed around that same time. And I just got curious and found a psych and got some testing, and here we are.
And did that process take a long time?
It didn't, but there is a lot of different components to the testing. So it's not as simple as, you fill out a form and gets fed into a computer kind of thing.
Yeah, and yes, you are. Congratulations.
You're 98%.
Yeah, 98% ADHD positive.
And you get a gold medal.
Yeah.
So family members were given questionnaires. I had to fill out a lot of questionnaires. I had to do a lot of kind of testing and whatever, and it was kind of more of a 360 kind of look, I suppose. And then the site goes away with all of the information and puts it all together and comes back with ADHD combined. I have.
Combined with...
Combined.
Combined.
I know.
Combined.
I know. Like a cocktail, no?
like that.
Hyperactivity.
Yes.
And the word has just gone from my mind.
And the other thing.
And the other one.
And the other one.
It'll come back
and
to
the
me.
other one. I'm sure
Maybe we can come back to that.
Yeah, that's right. We'll put it in the show notes or something like that. The other type.
Yeah.
The combination.
Yeah.
So I'd love to bring the conversation back around to like money management for you.
Oh,
yes.
Oh,
Triggering.
And could you tell us a bit about your journey with money and how do you think ADHD has played a part in your money life?
I always felt like in high school I was good at maths.
Yes.
But not all the time. I think there were certainly areas that I really enjoyed, and don't ask me what's parts of maths because I can't remember.
The good parts.
The good parts. But I think had it been taught to me in a different way, and had I been more vocal about, I'm not really I've understood it up until this point and whatever. I guess had I known back then what was going on with me, I could have, there could have been better strategies kind of put in place, and it could have been completely different.
Yeah.
And so in terms of money, I grew up in a household where we didn't have a lot of money. And so when I finished high school, all I wanted to do was make my own money.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was good enough to go on to further education. I didn't think I was capable at the time. All I wanted to do was make my own money, so I went out and worked. And managing my own money at the time seemed pretty simple, I suppose.
Yeah.
I was living at home. The money would come in. And those days we deal with cash a lot more.
Yeah, we did.
And I'm quite a visual person, and so
It
having your
helps,
piles
right?
of cash in front of you really kind of
worked.
helped me.
Yep, this is for that. I can spend this. That's my savings.
Absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong. I got into trouble.
Yeah.
They gave me a Maya card. I had Maya card debt, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Not really kind of understanding at the time, the interest that gets piled on and whatever. But when my then boyfriend and now husband got together, we moved overseas and we moved to the UK, and then it was quite hard to get a bank account. And so when we both started work, he found it easier. He's got a British passport, he found it easier.
Yes.
And so he got the bank account, and then we just kind of shared everything from there. And that's kind of been our history.
Yeah, and has that worked well, like that method?
I would say it could have been more successful had I maybe been more involved. I think just organically over the years, it's just been all of our money goes here, and then he tends to kind of, I know it just sounds really 1950s.
No, it's
or
it's the most common thing.
But not that it's, I'm the man and I take care of the money. It's just the way it's happened. There are areas of our life that I take care of. He takes care of this area,
And does it feel good for you to kind of let go of that? No. This is so interesting because we recently recorded another podcast on interdependence and independence with money in a relationship.
Right.
And about these feelings coming up. So not feeling like I'm, fully part or equal in making the money decisions or how it's being managed.
Yes.
And is it related to self-esteem?
Oh, definitely. There's a lot of shame around that. Shame and embarrassment, and it goes back to that, maybe I'm not good enough and whatever, and I would love to be more involved, but how and where do we start? And and sometimes life is just so goddamn busy that it's just easier for him to
do it.
I don't know, we're changing internet providers, and he'll just go and do it, and then that's it. And
what's the ADHD tax, Kelly? What is this thing?
thanks for asking.
Just something I prepared earlier.
It's where money gets wasted unintentionally. So as an example, the dopamine hit, you buy things online, the clothing, as an example, I've done this loads of times. You buy some stuff online, it gets delivered to the house. For starters, you put off opening up the package because what if it doesn't fit? what if I'm really disappointed? Then you open up the package and then you try it on and it doesn't fit. And then it's actually physically returning it either to the store or then having to take it back to be posted back. That sometimes doesn't happen, and then the clothes sit there and then you waste the money. It's going grocery shopping and food waste. So food goes off in the fridge. It happens so often. And it makes me feel sick when it happens, especially meat. And then you think, oh, I've got that and I've got to use it, and then it's past its use by date and it's just not edible anymore. Forgetting to cancel subscriptions. You sign up to subscriptions and suddenly you've got all of the Netflixes and everything.
Yes.
And some of those get like, you sign up and the first 3 months are free and you give your credit card details and whatever, and then you don't cancel, and before you know it, you're 6 months down the track.
Yep.
And then when you add all of those up, how much you're actually spending per month on your subscriptions.
So you need a little fairy coming in behind you, just doing all the cleanup.
So what do you, so you're obviously very aware of that. Do you still do that?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
You have little, what tips can you provide?
Has any strategies worked? No.
Yeah.
Or just keeps happening?
I've actually started, I do a lot of, when I'm shopping online, I put a lot of things in my basket and then I leave it there for a couple of days, just open. And if I really still want some stuff, I'll still have the feeling about it when I go back into it.
Yeah. So buy some time. That's a good one.
Time.
Yeah.
Rather than clicking buy.
Do you reckon less online shopping and more going into stores?
Potentially.
I know there's so much more choice online.
There is.
Yeah.
And we've just been through Black Friday sales and, all those companies, they're pressuring you, buy now. And it is actually smarter to buy it 25% off.
Yes, if you need the thing.
Yeah. And I bought a couple of things, but I did pretty good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So the tip that we would give in that, coming back to your bank account structures, is to have that spending account where Kelly can spend whatever she likes, whatever shit she wants to buy, whatever you want, anytime without any judgment. That is your money to do whatever you please. So if you do that and don't use the thing,
and even because with me, I've had had to put controls in place for my spending, and so if the groceries, if the cart comes to 500 but I've only got 300, then that's where operating off more accounts puts those measures in place.
And even though lots of accounts feel more complicated, a lot of the time it can actually be simpler, because it doesn't mean you have to have access and different things for all different cards. It might only be 1 or 2 accounts you access.
Yeah.
So,
But yes.
The majority of the time regularly.
The ADHD tax.
ADHD,
it's a thing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
What's the one thing that you would change? And the only way I could describe it is the feeling.
Yep. Yes. Okay. So then you need to know the process of how to change the feeling. So if I can bring it back to what I was saying.
Of course.
It's doing a process in a very different way. Starting, get on the same page about goals, and then work through how we're going to achieve that. Understanding our total position. And our total position is not just income minus expenses. It's your net asset position, income, minus liabilities, how much that's going to give you, how much you need, and then what's the gap. It's just very practical and boring, and it's doesn't have to be complicated at all. Yeah, you just start with where you're at in your goals. Something to think about.
There's a lot to think about.
And I will, because that fear, it's the fear that causes the feeling.
Yes.
And once you know facts and you feel like you've got your vision, the fear goes away, because you're dealing with reality. You're making decisions not out of fear,
Yes.
out of reality. And sometimes reality
It's
isn't awesome though.
It's a confronting topic.
It can be shitty,
Isn't it?
Yes.
but it will take that fear away and that feeling because you're dealing with facts and you can make good, rational decisions.
The problem is that we're not used to talking about it.
Yeah.
These are not the type of conversations that we're used to having, even with our partners, properly.
Yes.
And it's our brain again, like taking us down the usual route where we have to kind of go, stop, why do I feel like this? That feeling is the main indicator.
Yeah.
That fear is huge. And so what is it? And so we've got to address it. What is it? What is it?
That's right. That's why Mel and I started the Money Collective, to uplift financial well-being.
This
Financial
is
well-being is how you
well-being.
feel.
How you feel.
It's also being able to have that conversation in a safe space.
Definitely.
Without judgment.
Totally. Because we're a bit like, the stigma and the concerns we're talking about ADHD or women. It's the same thing with money. We want to. Those stigmas have to be broken down. It's not related to who we are as a human being. Yeah. It's got nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
It's got a lot to do with how we feel every day in our lives.
Of course.
Yeah.
But something else that comes with that fear is, because I was just thinking about our office at home. ADHD people generally have piles of things. We have a lot of unopened mail. A lot. And I'll start a pile of where the things kind of go. And then if I need to refer to it, it's like, I know exactly what pile that's in. So a bit more order.
So you like the order. Is that what you mean?
Absolutely. Things need to look nice and be clear. I can't do that though.
Which is like it to be around you like that.
Yes. So when I go shopping, as an example, I don't go to op shops.
Because they're not as clean, nice lines, sizes, colours,
all of that,
whatever.
All of the nice colours together. During sale time, I hate shopping during sale time.
Because you've got to dig through stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not as clean, is it? It's more busy.
Less straight lines.
Yeah. And also things like, I don't know, airports aren't set up for neurodiverse people. I want to be in the lounge where I can sit quietly, and that's not because I want the nice posh things. It's just I want that space, which is better for my brain.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's masking all the time, and that's
airports are the worst because it's so busy and it's so crowded and announcements all the time and people running everywhere and just to kind of go to that quiet space.
So part of our program, part of setting up your banking structure is one of the pieces that we do, and maybe that is why when we say we do coach a few ADHD women, and it works because everybody's system doesn't have to be the same, and it's, even though we do suggest tracking on a spreadsheet, I know that might trigger you, but accounts can be more automated, but it's almost like your envelope system that you said you used to have.
Yeah.
So, because I feel like that is a problem, that we've lost that visual feel of money. So
if I had a massive whiteboard
yeah,
on my wall, so rather than going into a spreadsheet, if I could just like big visual, write stuff on the wall, whatever it is.
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe that'll work better for me.
Yeah, it's the order and the clutter and the clarity and the simplicity.
There it is.
With ADHD, how this plays into it, like, because we've got a few women clients who've got ADHD, and we're actually very intrigued by it because they seem to like the systems that we provide around financial well-being and
Great.
Yeah, how the money comes in, having a system of where to put the money, like your envelope system or the cash.
Basically a digital version of your envelope.
That's right, and knowing what you want to do, being very clear about your goals, and then having a system in place that's automated so that you know where the money's going. Do you think having better systems would give you more confidence?
We have tried a few different methods over the years of budgeting. Mm-hmm. We even paid someone years ago who came in and, you know, goes through everywhere that our money goes to. And there's shame in that as well, and embarrassment.
Yes,
and even when you don't know, and then you find out, it's like, and he had this kind of system set up that everything that you spend, you put into, I can't remember what it was, with a spreadsheet, or it wasn't an app back then. I think the kids were really young. And I hated it. I hated it with a passion. Because it was something else that I had to think about doing.
Yes.
And also I felt judged around where the money went, but I was also judging myself, and I hated that. So I think that's a system that didn't work for me for quite a few reasons, but this was back before, you know, well before I was diagnosed.
So what system do you have at the moment?
No system.
And does that make you feel good?
No, it doesn't. The system is I go through stages of spending on things that, you know, could I live without? Yeah, probably. But I also am very, very conscious of spending too much, you know. I do look at discounts in the supermarket, all that kind of business. You know, it's not like I just piss money up against the wall kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm very conscious of all that kind of stuff, and I just try and spend less. As opposed to, I don't know how much is spent, and that's probably on both sides. Both Dale and myself, right? But I just know that when I go to the supermarket and I see the coffee that we drink and it's not on sale, I'm not going to buy it because I refuse to.
Oh, is that right? So you're really
specific
specific around that?
Very.
Okay.
Because, you know, we're being ripped off. How come last week that was half price and now you want me to pay full price? I'm not going to pay that.
Yeah, right.
And that's also me being a bit, you know, stubborn. It's
Yeah.
just not fair. It's like
just
social
not right.
justice.
Okay.
It's just not fair.
I'm hearing in this conversation, this is not really about ADHD.
Not at all.
This is just
so many good
normal.
things.
Like everything that
That's
you
what I
just said
Yeah.
is like, it's your money story, like how you grew up
Yep.
is where you started.
Yep.
Your money
Yep.
personality, how you behave and how you feel with money. The normal things, how you feel about shame, where not knowing where money goes or how much is being spent
Yep.
is normal. This has got nothing to do with having ADHD. So like I would hope to like at least leave you with that advice that it's not like this is completely normal and human. Like that's and this is how we all feel.
Right.
And in fact, I feel so similar to all of that. And it's why we started the Money Collective, because of those feelings. They are just normal.
Sure.
And like your husband sounds like he's probably got the same similar feelings, or, you know, in a different way we all have.
That I'm completely normal. I love it.
Completely.
Whatever normal
normal.
is. Yes.
That's right.
And these numbers and things like that don't even matter, like how much, and you know, so long as we're living great lives at the end of the day.
Of course.
Yeah, and we're supported in the way that we need to.
Absolutely.
So, Kelly, I was wondering a little bit too, like about this journey that you've had in the last couple of years since you've been diagnosed, and like maybe what some of your current money goals are or family goals are for the family and what you guys are heading towards. And I'm asking lots of questions in one go here, but are you currently working?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
I work in sales, so I work in school uniforms at the moment.
Yes.
I work casual hours.
Yes.
And so my income is quite low.
Yes.
But it is actually a job that has been serving me very well because I go to work, I do my job, I enjoy what I do.
Yes.
And then I go home and there's no kind of extra pressure around my job.
Yeah. So you can focus on the family and whatever your other priorities are. in life?
Regrouping, all that kind of stuff. Resting. And so...
And have you had to factor resting in more?
Absolutely.
Like that self-care, being very, listening to your body.
Yes.
I think this is something I've had to learn in the last couple of years too.
Yeah.
And go, right, well, she's saying no. She the body.
Yes.
You know?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So a lot of people see ADHD as an excuse to be lazy. Yes, because we procrastinate a lot. And at the end of a really busy week, my way of regrouping is I say I'm taking to my bed. Because during COVID, I spent a lot of time sitting in bed and just watching, Netflix or whatever. But that is my way of just regrouping, losing myself in a TV show or whatever it is, and just kind of shutting out the outside world.
Yeah.
And I look at different scenarios throughout my life. We moved to Sydney for a couple of years, and when we were moving back, we had to do a lot. So Dale's work packed and moved us there, and we had to pack ourselves to come home. And I went through spurts of, I could just go gung-ho and pack some boxes, and then I could go 3 or 4 days where I just could not do anything and just had to take to the couch or whatever, and just
so when you
mass avoidance, basically.
When you're going the gung-ho, is it in your brain? Is it your brain saying go, 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 and like you're over like a lots of thought pattern happening? How does the go, like when you're in that mode, how does that feel for you?
I wouldn't say it's in the mind, it's probably more in the body for me. I just
So
have
you just
this,
have to
it's like a burst of energy. And one thing that ADHD people don't have a lot of, or sometimes don't have any, it's the dopamine hit.
Okay.
And so when you hear of ADHD people spending a lot of money, it's that kind of dopamine hit, always searching for that dopamine hit just to kind of,
Feel
to get a pick up.
Yes.
Instead of
And
going
it could
into
be
the down.
anything.
So to avoid going to down, or just because you want to, it's like it's just searching for that up, the next thing.
I think so, yeah. I think so. I wouldn't
That's
say that.
interesting.
I wouldn't say that you're avoiding being down.
Yep.
Because I always think that we're probably down there anyways.
Yeah, like that's more normal.
Yes.
That's
But dopamine hit can
quote.
come in a lot of different ways. It's not necessarily kind of going shopping or spending money or whatever. It could be, your favourite food.
Yes.
Yeah.
It could be, talking to a person that you really like. It could be listening to a song. It could be, it even kind of presents as, when you're younger and you're picking on
On your
your
sibling,
sibling and you get a raise out of them.
Yeah.
It's like, bit of a dopamine hit.
So it actually feels good in your body.
I guess so, yeah.
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 Yeah. And you're kind of like searching, and it's like you're naturally looking for that next thing.
Yeah.
And do you feel like you can channel that? Like, I'm just saying, if you had a project, or is that really hard to do because it comes and goes?
Oh, I wish, if there was a drink, if there was, I don't know, whatever it is.
Do you like a party?
Sometimes. I think I'm, what do they call it? Like a introverted extrovert?
Yeah, you've got to be in the mood. When you're ready to party, you're good to party, and if not, just leave me alone.
But if you ask my friends, they would see me
You're a party
as, a party animal.
Would they?
Really
You're the good
funny.
fun, you're the fun.
I'm good time Cal, rah, rah.
Yeah.
But recently, I've been really good. Like, it just gets to a point in the night, I'm like, right, I'm done. I'm going home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything past 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I know, right? I love to sit on the couch.
That's
Just
also
let it
normal.
go.
And
That's
also
totally normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. But that comes with a hell of a lot of masking. right?
As in when you start feeling like that, like you can, like...
Oh, no. You spend your life masking.
How do you mask?
I'm masking now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like to stop yourself doing something or saying something?
I don't think it's stopping myself from doing something. It's just kind of...
A natural reaction.
It is.
To moderate yourself, to fit in.
Yes. Because the world isn't set up for neurodivergent people. I wish I was able to... I wouldn't say understand money more or understand money better, but had I been taught differently, I think I would have a different approach to money. Because my natural reaction to something that I've never really understood is, I must be really kind of, dumb in this area or something or other. Bad with money. Why don't I understand it? I'm not as smart as other people, so I will withdraw.
So if you didn't have that mind belief and you were given more courage or more...
Yes.
I can do this.
More strategies. Well, different strategies, not more,
it's
but
just left
different.
you less engaged.
Of course.
And this has got nothing to do with ADHD, I don't think.
I feel like actually most of what we've heard, just to bring that back together, it's not specific ADHD. It's the feelings that many of us have.
Of course.
Probably most.
It's so fascinating to hear.
But one thing about people with ADHD or neurodiverse people, people who say to us just like that, that sounds really common. I reckon I'm a bit ADHD.
Yes.
That sounds really normal. For people who are neurodiverse, those feelings are times 100.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, like...
Right?
Yeah.
So really heightened...
Yes.
That feeling?
Yes. And comments like that, and that's not having a go at you,
No, but that's really
at
helpful.
all, but comments like that then kind of diminish.
Yes. Like it should be easy, like there's a quick fix, but it's like not.
Yes.
Yes.
So they diminish, the
What
challenges
it really
that a
is.
neurodiverse person has.
That's good.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No.
No, but that's really helpful.
It is
But that's
very
the
helpful.
education part, isn't it?
Yeah, of
so
course.
That
Of
heightened,
course.
because to us that just seems like how we feel.
Yeah.
But then the feelings are times 100.
And people who say, we're all a bit, we're all a bit autistic, aren't we? It's like, no. Do you know what it's like to kind of live as a person with autism
into
or
this
autistic?
world.
Of course. Everything is harder for a neurodiverse person.
Yeah.
Everything. Because the world wasn't set up for neurodiverse people.
No, it wasn't.
Yes. Yeah. So hearing that it's kind of normal is good, but it's like, but don't you know how hard it is for me?
Yes.
Yeah.
And no, we don't.
No, exactly.
We have no idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So maybe what I've learned out of this is keep listening. Keep listening to people with ADHD. Learn, understand.
Yes.
What else can I do?
Empathy is a
Hold
big
space,
thing.
yeah.
Yes, of course.
And really try and understand
Of
a little bit
course.
more of that feeling, because we've all got that capacity, or hopefully, to feel, like I can feel that energy, you know what I mean? Like, and open up to that and know that it's harder. And
if you've got people in the workplace who are neurodiverse, just a bit of flexibility. And if they come to you and they say, do you know what? I'm most productive at 7:30 in the morning, and you're going to get the best work out of me then. Yes. So let me come to the office then, or let me start work then, and by 2:00 I'm going to be spent.
This is the future of where we've got to get equity. For everybody. And that's where we just don't have that flexibility in our current systems. Like it's coming, but it's true. It's a push.
It's true. So a bit more flexibility, a bit more empathy, more understanding.
We're scared of that change too, because our systems are very rigid. So like it took something like COVID to pull some of it down.
Yes.
and then there's that pull to come back into that safe space again where not everybody, where people generally feel safe. Yeah. But we need to be brave enough to stay outside of it.
But also, I think... Sorry, I interrupted you because that's also another thing that ADHD people do.
We're very good.
Something comes to the mind, it's like you've got to throw yourself in there. And now I can't remember what I was going to say. No, I was going to say that, you know, if you do have a neurodiverse person in your workplace, learn about their condition. There is a lot of emphasis and a lot of pressure on, you know, not just neurodiverse people who live with a disability, to teach others about their disability. Whereas...
It should be the other way around. Is that
I think you can kind of meet halfway. So rather than me being the person going into a workplace and teaching you what it is to live as a middle-aged woman with ADHD, go away and Google a bit of it and learn some more about it and just say, you know what, I read this and I did this, and it just kind of makes you feel, I don't know, more appreciated, more heard. You know, do your own Googles.
Yeah, I've done your own research.
Had this massive epiphany that ADHD is about you and it's not about me. Like, it's about how you feel, and it's got nothing to do about what our perspective is at all on it. And to have that space, we've just got to have way more space for people to be who they are.
Yeah.
Gosh. My mind is so small. Thank you so much for coming along today.
Your mind isn't small.
Oh,
no.
But there's
so
much.
New. It's still new for me.
So much room for growth. Like our minds have the capacity for so much, and we get used to using certain.
We get
parts
conditioned,
of it.
right?
We do,
and we can.
And we're an asset. Normal. Our brain is.
Yeah, we're an asset as well, and you know there are struggles, but we're an asset.
Of course.
To any workplace.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think in the fight or flight scenario, who would I want in a, you know, fight scenario? I want somebody that's fighting that can get shit done.
We are great problem solvers.
Yeah.
Great problem solvers. Yeah. Got a crisis? Bring me in.
Call Kelly.
Yes.
Girl.
Yes.
Good to know.
But then I just need to have a lay down afterwards.
Yeah, that's it. That's all right. Love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for opening my mind today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. And yeah, I've learnt a lot.
Now we have a question for the day, and in the work that we do, the most common thing that we're hearing at the moment is fixed rate expiry, and we have talked about this in different lenses in past podcasts, but the question today is, what do I do if my fixed rate is about to expire? Where do you start?
Where do you start? So the first thing I would want to know is if it's going to expire, what happens? What interest rate am I going to get? And what will my new repayments be? And what does that mean to my life? So in an ideal world, you would want to be very prepared for this, because when we take out a fixed rate, for example, in this environment, ideally you've done the pre-work. You know, so you've got a 2-year fixed rate, you've known for 2 years that it's going to expire, and for the last 12 months we've been in rising interest rates. So the quicker that you can understand what the new repayments will be, given the current environment, that's when you can start planning and preparing and making decisions about what you're going to do.
Yeah, definitely. The very first thing I think to do is understand what your repayment is going to be with your current bank. So they would have sent you a letter or been in contact if it's nearing. If it's not, if you can, depending on how early you're doing your planning, if it's way early, then you might not be able to get that information from your bank. So I would recommend talking to your broker or the bank, or just working out what your repayment would be. On approximately 6.5% would be my recommendation, and see what that new repayment could look like. It might not be exact, but it'll give you a good guide
That's it.
Then plug that into your spending plan. See where that leaves you with money left over or not, and then make adjustments along the way to start. At least then that'll take the fear away. You'll have a picture, and then you need to review your loan with an expert and see what else is out there and how that compares.
That's right.
And, is it worth refinancing?
That's right. I'm finding at the moment that most customers can get a competitive rate with their current lender, and that in most cases is a really good option for people because it's, we're in an environment where things are a bit tight and it can be hard to refinance. So definitely taking those steps with the bank. When my fixed rate came off a few months ago, it took me a while to negotiate with my bank because I did want to stay there. And you have to be a bit of a dog at a bone. So that's a follow-up on a previous truth in a previous... that really took me 2 months to do, which is unusual. It's not usually that hard, but sometimes you've got to do what you need to do to make sure that your lender's looking after you. But I'm finding in most instances it's quite easy for people to call their bank and negotiate a good rate.
I am
if their bank's not automatically giving them a great rate anyway.
Yeah.
When I say great, everything's relative.
Yeah, today's terms.
In today's terms. Yeah. Even historically, 6% aren't, that bad. We just got a bit carried away the last few years with these low interest rates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's because there's cost to refinance as well. So
yeah, it's about $1,200 roughly, depending on, individual banks' discharge costs and new costs to set up. So it does range a little bit.
That's it. But if you've been taken for a ride, then you absolutely need to talk to a mortgage broker. So call the Money Collective.
Yes, please. And coming back to what you're saying, if it is within that 0.25, 0.3, it's all relative. So it depends on your loan balance. So you actually need to work out, what the savings is going to be.
That's
and
right.
Then, add that money on to refinance. Is it worthwhile or not? So it does take a little bit of research. Talk to an expert, do the sums, do the calculations, but don't just think always that refinancing is the way to go. It might be, and you might consider other things too, whether or not you like your bank system. After working with people for lots and lots of time, you see those basic needs become really important, and things like an online platform. So how good is the app? How good is the internet banking? Because some people really, see that as really, really important. Other people might see as service as really, really important. So where you rank those things also depends and plays into your decision whether or not you should refinance or not, because different banks definitely are very different and have points of difference in all those places. So understanding actually what you want in your bank beyond a rate is really, really important to work through. And as I said, for me, when we suggest banks to people, we really look into those, important needs that people are looking for. So, and you can hear that, if you can get really niggled every time you have to log on to the internet banking. It's so hard to do BPay or transfer money or, I don't know, all the things, and you want a really seamless online platform, then there's different banks that you would go to for that, versus if you just want the cheapest rate and you don't care, that's different banks again. Or you really want a bank where you can walk into a branch if you've got a problem. They are becoming few and far between, but they still exist.
They do.
But if that's really important to you, or you really don't care about that, so it can be a name you haven't heard of or one you have. How does that make you feel? What are the really important things that you want in your bank? We can talk more about variable and fixed on another podcast. Yeah.
And if it's all sounding all confusing, then just reach out and get the expert in your pocket that you need.
Yeah. Great.
Good luck.
See you next time.
See ya.
At The Money Collective, we provide financial wellbeing premium coaching, mortgage broking and workplace financial wellbeing programs, which we couldn't do without the seamless support of our fabulous team.
If you'd like to find out more, head to themoneycollective.com.au or our socials to take action and engage our services. In our Facebook group, join the conversation and help us break down the taboo around money.
All content in this podcast is for educational purposes only and is general in nature. For tailored personal advice, please seek out a professional.